All right, so let's just jump right in. We talk all the time about how our food system is a huge part of the climate problem, right? But what if that same system could actually be one of the biggest solutions? That's what we're digging into today, this idea of regenerative agriculture and how we might be able to heal the planet literally from the ground up.
But before we get into all that, I want to start with a question, and it's a pretty tough one. What if our farms are dying?
I mean, that's not just for dramatic effect. It's the reality we're up against. The UN has put out this really stark warning. They're saying that if we keep going the way we are, we might only have about 50 years of farmable topsoil left. 50. That's not some far-off sci-fi problem, you know? It's right here, right now. And look at this. This image just says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got this dry, kind of sad-looking land, and right next to it, a vibrant green oasis. It's the perfect way to frame this whole thing, because it raises the big question. What if the problem, agriculture, is also the solution?
Okay, so to really get our heads around the solution, we first have to be super clear on just how big of a crisis we're talking about with our current food system.
First up, let's talk climate impact. I mean, look at these numbers. Globally, agriculture is responsible for a third of all greenhouse gas emissions. A third. And to bring it down to a more local level, you look at a country like Thailand, and it's still over 15% of their national total. That is a massive, massive footprint.
And it's not just about the climate. There's a huge economic hit here too. Get this, $400 billion. That's how much the global economy loses every single year just because our soil is degrading. That's like money just evaporating from the ground.
And here's the stat that really hit me. We are losing soil somewhere between 50 and 100 times faster than nature can possibly rebuild it. Now, to put that in perspective, that's like an entire football field's worth of topsoil eroding away every 5 seconds. Just think about that. We are literally watching our ability to grow food just wash away.
Wow, okay, that sounds pretty bleak, I know, but this is where the story takes a turn. This is the pivot. We're going to shift from the problem to a really powerful solution, a totally different way of thinking about farming.
And that solution is called regenerative agriculture. You see, it's not just about sustaining what we've got. It's about actively rebuilding it. The whole idea, the big shift, is super simple, but also kind of revolutionary. Instead of fighting nature with plows and chemicals, you work with it to bring the soil back to life.
There's this fantastic saying in Thailand that just captures the whole philosophy perfectly. It goes, feed the soil and let the soil feed the plants. See the difference? You stop focusing on just the plant and start focusing on nurturing the whole living ecosystem that's under our feet. And this is incredible. If there is one thing, just one thing you take away from all this, let it be this number. Healthy, living soil can store 3 times more carbon than all the trees and forests on the entire planet. Let that sink in. 3 times. This means farming could go from being this huge source of carbon to a massive carbon sink.
So that's the big idea. But what does it actually look like, on the ground? Well, let's check out a real-world example from Thailand called the Kok Nong Na model, which is putting all these ideas into practice.
What's so cool about this is that it's not some brand new invention. It's actually an ancient land management system that's been cleverly reimagined for today. It basically combines 3 key things, mounds, ponds, and fields, to create a farm that can handle pretty much anything, from floods to droughts. All right, so first up, you've got the kok. That's the mound. It's this raised area of land where they plant a whole mix of trees, fruit trees, trees for wood, herbs, you name it. It pretty much becomes its own little diverse forest right there on the farm, giving food, resources, and a home for wildlife. Then you have the nong, which is the pond. And really, this is the heart of the whole system. It's designed to catch and store rainwater, so the farm has a water supply all through the dry season. Plus, you can raise fish in it, which is another source of food and income. It's basically the farm's own personal water battery. And finally, you have the na, the field. This is where they grow the staple crops, usually rice. But check this out. The raised banks around the rice paddies, what they call golden ridges, they don't go to waste. They're used to grow vegetables and herbs. Every single bit of space is maximized.
So how do they actually feed the soil in this model? Well, they use this technique, I'm going to try to say this right, hang cham nam cham. It's basically a simple 3-step mulching process. First, you lay down a dry base of straw or leaves. Then you add a layer of dry compost, like old manure. And finally, you douse the whole thing with a liquid compost tea that's just packed with microorganisms to kick everything into gear. And what you get is this thick, protective blanket over the soil. And it does three really important things at once. It shields the soil from the hot sun, it keeps moisture from evaporating, and it slowly breaks down, becoming food for that whole world of microorganisms that make the soil rich and fertile.
Okay, this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But does it actually work? Let's look at the data. Let's see the proof from the field.
I mean, when you put the two systems side by side, the results are just night and day. On the Koh Nong Na farms, biodiversity is way up. The soil health is actually improving year after year. It holds on to way more water. And maybe the most important part for the farmers themselves, their income isn't just stuck or going down into debt, it's actually increasing, and it's more stable because they have so many different things to sell.
All right, so let's zoom back out. We've seen this incredible example in Thailand, but now let's connect it back to the big picture, the idea of healing the entire planet's soil.
Remember that first image we saw? Well, here we are again. And this isn't just a concept anymore. This is the choice that's right in front of us. On the left, we have a future of depleted, tired land. And on the right, a future of regeneration, of life, of abundance.
This is what it's all about. When you see a beautiful, thriving farm like this, you have to understand you're not just looking at a place that grows food. You are looking at a powerful carbon sink. You're looking at a wildlife habitat. You're looking at a community that has food security. It's the whole shebang.
So we end up right back where we started, with the ground right under our feet. The evidence is there. The examples are there. The solution to some of our absolute biggest challenges is literally right there. So the only real question left for us is, how can we help it grow?